I am Apurva studying class 9 in Rainbow School, and today we are all here with the topic lockdown. The word lockdown doesn't only refer to the nationwide ban, but it also refers to the people's lives. This lockdown started on 25th March 2020. It was a decision taken by Sri Narendra Modi's government to control the spread of coronavirus. This deadly virus originated in China and kept all the countries in fear. So, to control the panic situation, the lockdown was set up and the country is now fighting together against the virus. We are all safe at our homes because the country's strength is fighting out for us. So, let us all look at of how life has been for people in different professions during this pandemic. It's time to know about our superheroes and our country's hands. Yes, they are none other than doctors, and here are Tanvi and Shrinaja to tell us about doctors.
Hello. Doctors have played an important role in this crisis. In spite of us getting a long break from work, they have not taken a single day's leave. Doctors have been working day and night for the welfare of their patients. Many doctors have in fact lost their lives in this period. Now it's time to salute to them and let's pray for their good health.
True, Tanvi. Doctors are soldiers who work for the betterment of the country from the inside. The lives of doctors, hospital workers, staff, etc. during this pandemic is more than difficult. Being trapped inside PPE suits for 6 hours is tough. Battling the fear of contracting COVID-19 is tougher, and not meeting children, spouses, or parents for weeks is the toughest. Their days revolve around their COVID-19 patients and their lives around their families, and the twain can never meet. That is the maxim for the band of frontline warriors in the battle against the pandemic, who go to extraordinary lengths to isolate themselves from their loved ones and ensure that the two halves that make up their world stay completely separate. I will take my own mother, who is a doctor, as an example. She goes to the hospital every day thinking about how she's putting every member living in the same household as her at risk. But that doesn't stop her from fulfilling her duty as a doctor. I'm proud of having a doctor for a mom.
Absolutely, Srinaja. We are all proud of your mother and all our doctors too. Galat mat kadam uthao, soch kar chalo. Yes, we have an Indian police taking balanced and proper steps at the right time. Here is Rishvika to tell us about the life of police during this pandemic.
Namaste. Policing during the pandemic has neither specific guidelines nor well-defined rules in shaping their response. The forces are geared for imposing isolation, but never on such a vast scale, as nervous citizens were caught off guard by a hastily announced lockdown. Policemen risked their lives on streets to ensure that the country's 1.3 billion people stayed safe indoors, advising the violators or using force to vacate roads, drawing Lakshman Rekhas to space people out in front of shops and bazaars, standing at the barricade points through day and night to check cars, spreading awareness about social distancing, disciplining some for violating the restrictions, and arresting foolhardy offenders. To be sure, these at times resulted in excessive action, but this was more the exception than the norm. The police also traced the travel history of those who didn't follow the screening protocols and took them to the quarantine centers.
Yes, Rishvika, it has really been a tough job for the police. Manava Sevaye Madhava Seva. This saying is referred to the municipality and sanitary departments. Here is Tanvi to tell us about them.
Sanitation refers to the public health conditions related to clean drinking water, adequate treatment, disposal of human excreta, and sewage. This is all done by the municipal workers. In this COVID situation, municipal workers have played a vital role by sanitizing all public and private places. They have been helping us in keeping our surroundings clean, which is imperative in a situation like this. However, they are not given the respect they deserve. So let us all give them their due respect.
That's a good point you made, Tanvi. They truly deserve our respect. Now, how did you all know about the virus and the pandemic? Yes, it's because of the media and journalists. And here is Akshita to tell us about them.
During a crisis, newspapers are the primary source of cross-checked information. Journalists are at heart storytellers. Their duty is to accumulate information and telecast it on television and other media through which we are able to know what is happening in and around the world. They go to those places where humankind is prohibited, the containment zones. However, the fear of the transmitter does not stop them from doing their work. Well, that being said, there are journalists who have taken it so far that they've even lost their lives. They basically lay a foundation on which we could stand and know what's taking place globally during these uncertain times. They keep us informed with the latest happenings around us.
True, Akshata. Thousands of migrant workers are walking across the streets of India to reach their native place. And here is Megan to give us information about the life of migrants during this pandemic.
We are indeed living in a strange world now, aren't we? And one of the most affected are our migrant workforce. The images of stranded migrants in unprecedented numbers and their long, difficult journeys broadcast on various news channels send shockwaves across our country and internationally. Who are these migrant workers? Well, these are highly skilled or low skilled workers who are recorded as working in a different place other than their place of birth. More than 300 million migrant workers work as laborers in construction sites, as domestic helpers, street vendors, etc. Most of them are from Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Bihar, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, and Uttarakhand. They are the silent contributors to the Indian economy. Now, why are they left in such a pathetic condition? The current pandemic and ensuing lockdown have led to the shutdown of industries, which has pushed over 40 crore migrants into poverty. The enormity and suddenness of the shutdown without plan clueless. We have a fundamental and moral duty to help our migrant workforce who are in dire poverty and weakened by starvation. There should be an immediate approach to supply the basic needs of food and shelter, regardless of documentation. In fact, it was encouraging to see few people come together and support the migrant workers. The misery of people trying to leave cities and get back home is heart-wrenching. Visuals of crying small children, pregnant women walking long distances, long queues of food under the hot sun, and people herded like cattle on buses and trains had become a common sight on television until people like you and I came to their rescue. Let us do what we can to bring confidence and faith back in our migrant workforce, for without them, the economy of our country will be in shambles.
That's right, Megan. We must do our part to support the needy. Here is Rajana to tell us about the country's social and economic status.
The COVID-19 pandemic is an unprecedented global health crisis, and its impact is most likely to dominate the global market and policymakers' attention, at least in its near term. In response to the economic impact of the lockdown, March has seen the government announce a stimulus program worth approximately $23 billion, which provides food and income security to the low-income households. Credit growth among non-banking financial companies has steadily declined due to a freeze in the wholesale money markets. The Monetary Policy Committee voted with a 5-to-1 majority to reduce the policy rate by 40 basis points from 4.4% to 4.0%. It will of course require some financial strength to overcome this difficult situation, and that's certainly going to happen soon.
We hope so, Srijana. सारे जहां से अच्छा हिंदुस्तान हमारा हमारा. This song is dedicated to our Indian Army and soldiers, and here is Asrita to tell us about them.
Hello. We all know how hard this pandemic has been on all of us, and it is not like being in the armed forces is an exception. The Army, Navy, and the Air Force work day and night in order to protect their motherland. My father had been a part of the Indian Air Force for over 20 years, and one thing is for sure that it is not easy. Being away from your family and not being sure if you would see them again is a lot to handle and can get overwhelming. Especially during a time like this, These forces are given additional duties to perform. This is called aid to civil power. The Indian Army has set up wellness centers to treat COVID patients all over the country. Army doctors and nurses have been put on COVID care duties. The Navy has brought native Indians back from different parts of the world. The name of the operation is Samudra Setu. The helicopters of IAF have supplied necessary medical equipment, staff, and doctors. The IAF aircraft were used to bring back Indian nationals from abroad. The name given to this operation is Sanjeevani. The Indian Air Force has conducted flypast over hospitals as a symbol of respect for COVID warriors. The Armed Forces Orchestra held musical concerts to motivate citizens. The least we could do to show our gratitude towards them and our country is to say Jai Hind.
Absolutely, Asrita. We are all proud of your father and all our soldiers too. Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan. When we hear the slogan, we remember farmers, and here is Sampath to give us more information about them.
Hello, hope you are fine in this lockdown and getting all the resources to stay alive and healthy. But have you ever wondered about where you're getting all this from? Yes, it's the farmer. He is known as the backbone of India, and farmers are doing their duty in spite of this lockdown. If they didn't farm or work on their fields, we all would die with hunger than with COVID-19. So let us all thank our farmers.
Thank you, Sampath. And of course, we can't forget our teachers. Our teachers are ready to share their wisdom even during this pandemic. We don't know what they are going through, but they're ever ready with a beautiful smile on their face. It is said that it is not only one department, but it is the entire nation that has stood together in this fight. So, we all Rainbowites hope that you all will stay home. Let us all salute to the country's strength that has been fighting for us once again. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Ashwita. Freedom can never be bestowed upon. It has to be achieved. Namaste, everyone. Warm wishes on Independence Day to you all. As the whole nation is celebrating 74th Independence Day amid the coronavirus pandemic, the word freedom appears to be much sweeter than before. Earlier, when the nation was under the clutches of the British rule, our freedom fighters took it as their responsibility to free our country from the British rule. Our freedom fighters endured countless suffering and thousands laid down their lives. They were dedicated and committed towards their mission. And now, the doctors, nurses, health workers, and all the related employees are working hard to free us from the deadly virus. Dear all, the freedom which we enjoy is truly a gift from such dedicated personalities. Let us respect and value it so that we may never lose it. My dear students, always remember that freedom and responsibility go together. If you don't want to take responsibility, you can't have freedom either. Your perseverance, dedication, and commitment to your life will determine the future of India. Let us all do a bit to make India a better place. Jai Hind.